viewers, a very good evening to the news on Sansad Television. I'm Rashika Gangwani. Over the next half an hour, I'll take you through all the major news and events from across India and the world. First up, the headlines. CBI conducts searches at the premises linked to the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister in connection with the Delhi liquor policy case. FIR filed against 16 people, including Manish Sisodia. Doesn't take effort to form governments, but hard work essential to build country, asserts Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Har Ghar Jal Utsav program. Flood situation worsens in Odisha. High alert in coastal districts. Fishermen told not to venture into sea. Heavy rains forecast in Rajasthan. UN chief and Turkish President meet Volodymyr Zelensky in a bid to end Russia-Ukraine conflict. Many killed in attack on Kharkiv city. Janmashtami celebrated across the country. Devotees strong temples. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet people. Let us now take a look into some important news. Union Home Minister Amit Shah asked DGPS of border states to keep watch on demographic changes in border areas. Employ state insurance to expand its services in all 744 districts by December, says Labour Minister Bhupendra Yadav. 17th PRAVASI Bhartiya DIVAS 2023 to be held at Indore in January. MEA signs MOU with MP government. President Draupadi Murmu pays homage to former President Shankar Sharma on his birth anniversary. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh interacts with jawans of Indian Army and Assam Rifles in Imphal. India-China ties going through extremely difficult phase. Opines S. Shankar says Asian century will not happen if the two neighbours cannot join hands. Union Power Ministry bars 13 states from buying or selling electricity from spot market for not clearing payments of rupees 5,085 crore to power generators. Sri Lanka's former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa applies for green card to settle in US. Powerful storms batter Central and Southern Europe, killing at least 12 people, including 3 children. Vatican says it will not probe accusations of sexual misconduct against Canadian Cardinal Mark O'Haley due to insufficient evidence. Now news in detail. 10 crore rural households have been connected to the facility of clean water through pipes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said while virtually addressing the Har Ghar Jal Utsav being held in Goa. The Prime Minister also announced that Goa has become the first state to be certified with Har Ghar Jal. Lauding the feat of connecting 7 crore rural households with piped water in just 3 years, he said there cannot be a better beginning of Amrit Kal. Prime Minister Modi also said that it does not take that much effort to form a government, but hard work is needed to form a country. Union Minister of Jal Shakti Gajendra Singh Shekhawat and Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant were present at the function in Panji.
Catch the rain हो, अटल भूजल योजना हो, देश के हर जिले में 75 अमृत सरोवरों का निर्माण हो, नदियों को जोड़ना हो या फिर जल जीवन मिशन, इन सबका लक्ष्य है देश के जन जन को जल सुरक्षा.
The CBI on Friday conducted raids at 21 locations, including the residence of Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia and premises of IS officer and former Excise Commissioner Arava Gopi Krishnan in connection with the alleged irregularities in the Delhi excise policy. The CBI has registered an FIR in the connection with the case. Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena had recommended a CBI probe over alleged violations of rules and procedural lapses in the policy. The searches covered 7 states and union territories.
दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल आपसे रुकने वाला नहीं है, स्वास्थ्य का मॉडल रुकने वाला नहीं है. पहले भी आपने सैकड़ों प्रयास किए हैं, अब भी कर लीजिए। पहले भी आपने मुख्यमंत्री के दफ्तर पे सीबीआई का छापा मारा है, क्या निकला? आज तक कुछ नहीं निकला। मनीष सिसोदिया पे सीबीआई का छापा मार चुके हैं, क्या निकला? कुछ नहीं निकला।
सारी फाइलों पर साइन मनीष सिसोदिया के होंगे तो जेल कौन जाएगा जिसके साइन होंगे? तो अरविंद केजरीवाल इतना मास्टरमाइंड आदमी है कि वो कहीं साइन नहीं करता है क्योंकि कोई विभाग उसके पास नहीं है। तो जहां भ्रष्टाचार होगा पैसा अरविंद केजरीवाल के पास जाएगा, मगर जेल उसका मंत्री जाएगा, ताकि मैं मंत्रियों को निकाल कर कहूंगा देखिए मैं ईमानदार हूं।
यही नहीं, ये सिर्फ लिकर वाला मामला या स्कूलों में जो कमरे बनाए उसके धांधली का मामला, ये टीचरों में रिक्रूटमेंट का मामला, सिविल डिफेंस में रिक्रूटमेंट का मामला, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स का मामला, जिसमें भी आप देखेंगे, अगर आप इसमें गहराई में जाएंगे तो एक नहीं 10-10 सीबीआई की रेड पड़नी चाहिए।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh met Manipur Chief Minister CM Biren over breakfast at his residence on Friday. The Defence Minister was given a rousing welcome en route to the Chief Minister's private residence. The Defence Minister also went to the office of the Inspector General of Assam Rifles in Mantri Pukri, where he interacted with Assam Rifle Jawans and personnel of the 57th Mountain Division of the Indian Army. Addressing the personnel, Rajnath Singh praised the officers and soldiers for performing their duty with courage and conviction despite challenges posed by terrain and weather and improving the security situation in Manipur. Indian Army Chief General Major Manoj Pandey also attended the meeting. Rajnath Singh is on a two-day visit to the northeastern state.
कोई जाति नहीं, कोई धर्म नहीं, कोई मजहब नहीं। धर्म और दायित्व तो हमारा है देश की सुरक्षा का है। कोई रंग नहीं, सभी एक रंग में रंगे हुए। यह स्थिति है। और 57 माउंटेन डिवीजन की बात तो अलग है। और मुझे बताया गया कि पिछले 5 दशक में श्रीलंका में भी 57 माउंटेन डिवीजन के लोगों ने अपने शौर्य और पराक्रम का परिचय दिया है। और आप लोगों ने 71 वार में भी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है।
Now let's trace the monsoon situation in our nation. Odisha has issued a high alert for rains in the coastal districts. The situation has worsened in many of the flood-hit areas. A red alert was sounded for extremely heavy rains in parts of Balasore, Bhadrak and Mayurbhanj districts. Flooding, mudslides and landslides have been reported in mountainous areas, causing damage to roads and houses. An orange alert was issued for 12 districts including Kendrapara, Jagat Singhpur, Kattak, Dekanal and Ongul. Fishermen have been advised not to venture into the sea. Water levels in the Hirakud reservoir reached 622.37 feet at 8 a.m. against its capacity of 630 feet. So far, over 5 lakh people in 13 districts have been affected by the floods. About 90,000 people have been shifted to 190 relief camps. Due to the formation of a new low-pressure area over the Bay of Bengal and the coast of Bangladesh, heavy rains are likely in many areas of Rajasthan. According to the Met Department, a deep depression could move in a west-northwest direction through Odisha, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh in the next 1 or 2 days. This is likely to increase rains in Kota and Bharatpur divisions of East Rajasthan on Saturday. Now let's take a look at some stories that is making news across our nation. The country has achieved another milestone in the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. India now has over 1 lakh open defecation-free villages. DMRC submitted its report to the Industrial Development Authority on the metro project connecting Noida Airport with the IGI Airport. Under the second phase, the metro line will be completed between Knowledge Park 2 and New Delhi Railway Station. The special cell of the Delhi Police and Jammu and Kashmir Police arrested a suspect Mohammad Yasin from Delhi. Police claimed he was working as an agent in the Hawala business related to the funding of terrorist organizations Lashkar and Al-Badr. Gold and silver prices declined amid weak global market. Gold fell by rupees 389 to rupees 51,995 per 10 gram. And the price of silver has fallen by rupees 1,607 to rupees 56,247. Delhi Handi events were organized in Maharashtra on Janmashtami after a break of 2 years due to the pandemic. Girls have also increasingly participated in the year's events. Various organizations took part with enthusiasm. Under the nationwide COVID vaccination campaign, over 209 crore 27 lakh vaccines have been administered in the country so far. Over 31 lakh 52,000 vaccines were administered in the last 24 hours. 15,754 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in the country in the last 24 hours. And the number of patients under treatment is now 1,01,830. The birth of Lord Krishna was celebrated in different parts of the country. On the auspicious occasion of Janmashtami, the President, Vice President and Prime Minister greeted all Indians living in the country and abroad. Thousands of Krishna temples were a festive look with devotees thronging the temples. These included the Sri Krishna Janmabhoomi Temple in Mathura, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, and Baki Bihari Temple and ISKCON Temple in Vrindavan. Prime Minister Modi extended his best wishes. He wished happiness, prosperity and good fortune to all on the auspicious occasion. Time now for a short break. On the other side, China issues first national drought alert of the year after 66 rivers dry up.
एक नीति हमारी बड़ी स्पष्ट है कि किसी बेगुनाह को हम नहीं छेड़ेंगे, लेकिन किसी गुनहगार को छोड़ेंगे भी। गेटेड किलिंग एक पैरामीटर नहीं है। स्टोन पेल्टिंग अब इतिहास की बात हो गई। 100 दिन स्कूल कॉलेज बंद रहते थे, वो भी इतिहास की बात हो गई। देशीय पर्यटकों का सबसे पसंदीदा स्थल आज जम्मू कश्मीर बन गया है।
Welcome back to the news on Sansad television. Now time for big developments from Russia-Ukraine war front. Russia's foreign ministry has rejected a proposal by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to demilitarize the area around the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. Moscow said it will make the facility more vulnerable. Russia has also claimed that its military presence at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine is a guarantee against a likely Chernobyl scenario that refers to the 1986 nuclear catastrophe. Ukraine's Nagomatam state nuclear company has said that Russian forces are preparing to disconnect the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant from the Ukrainian power grid. Nagomia claimed that Russia was preparing to conduct a large-scale provocation there. Turkey's leader and the UN chief met in Ukraine with the President Zelensky on Thursday in a high-powered bid to wind down a war raging nearly 6 months. But little immediate progress was reported. One major topic was the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, condemning the Kremlin for what he called nuclear blackmail. Zelensky has demanded that Russian troops leave the plant and that a team from the UN's International Atomic Energy Agency be allowed in. 17 people were killed and 42 injured in 2 separate Russian attacks on the major northeastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. 3 civilians were killed and 17 wounded in the pre-dawn rocket strike. That followed a Russian attack on Kharkiv in which the emergency service initially said 12 people were killed. US President Joe Biden's administration is readying about $800 million of additional military aid for Ukraine and could announce it as soon as Friday. Biden will authorize the assistance using his presidential authority that allows him to transfer excess weapons from US stocks. The Russian ruble firmed to a near 4-week high against the dollar in early trade, supported by month-end tax payments that boost demand for the Russian currency. The ruble was 0.5% stronger against the dollar at 59.20. Against the euro, the ruble gained 0.9% to 59.65. The economic outlook for Germany, Europe's largest economy, is gloomy due to energy price rises and supply chain disruption, the German Finance Ministry said in its August monthly report. The German economy stagnated in the second quarter with the war in Ukraine, soaring energy prices, the pandemic and supply disruption bringing it to the edge of a downturn. After years of relying on cheap Russian gas, German industries are facing worries over supplies and soaring costs. Even the West moved to punish Russia by imposing economic sanctions, 12 European Union countries have faced reductions in their Russian gas deliveries. Their companies are warning that they can't switch overnight to other energy resources.
In this small village in Western Germany, steel parts are rust-proofed by dipping them in molten zinc, a treatment that means they can last for decades and hold up against weather and rock strikes. The zinc power plant employees use overhead cranes to dip truck components and balcony railings into the 13-meter tank of molten zinc. The zinc needs to be kept in a molten state 365 days a year. If the gas is cut off, the zinc will harden and ruin the tank, a state-of-the-art equipment that was installed only in 2019. A digital display shows the temperature, 444 degrees Celsius, a level that must be maintained above zinc's melting point of 419 degrees. Ironically, the reinforced steel being treated by the company is needed to make solar panels and electricity-generating wind farms. These are the very sources of renewable energy that Germany needs to replace Russian gas. Russia supplied about 40% of Europe's natural gas before the war. That has now dropped to about 15%, sending prices through the roof and straining energy-intensive industries. Other German industries that use lots of natural gas are in the same predicament. Makers of glass bottles, steel, medicines, chemicals, and even laundries that clean sheets for hospitals. And that is a problem for Europe's biggest economy after years of relying on cheap Russian gas. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now time for some global updates. China has issued its first national drought alert of the year after 66 rivers dried up in the country's southwest. The drought, coupled with intense heat waves due to the forest fires, are posing a serious threat to China's crops.
China on Thursday issued its first national drought alert of the year as authorities battle forest fires and mobilize specialist teams to protect crops from scorching temperatures across Yangtze River Basin. The national yellow alert came after regions from Sichuan in the southwest to Shanghai in the Yangtze Delta experienced weeks of extreme heat, with government officials repeatedly citing global climate change as the cause. The alert is 2 notches short of the most serious warning on Beijing scale. A severe heat wave across the basin of China's longest river, caused by a larger than usual Western Pacific subtropical high, has now lasted more than 2 months, drying out the large expanses of arable land. China warned that Yangtze drought could last until September. Rainfall in Yangtze Basin has been around 45% lower than normal since July, and high temperatures are likely to persist for at least another week. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
A brutal summer has caused havoc for many in rural Spain, but one unexpected side effect of the country's worst drought in decades has delighted archaeologists. A prehistoric stone circle has emerged out of a dam, whose waterline has receded. Take a look.
Officially known as the Dolmen of Guadalperal, but dubbed the Spanish Stonehenge, this circle of dozens of megalithic stones is believed to date back to 5000 BC. It currently sits fully exposed in one corner of the Valdecañas Reservoir, where authorities say the water level has dropped to 28% of its capacity. It was discovered by German archaeologist Hugo Obermeier in 1926, but the area was flooded in 1963 in a rural development project under Francisco Franco's dictatorship. Since then, it has only become fully visible 4 times. Dolmens are vertically arranged stones, usually supporting a flat boulder. Although there are many scattered across Western Europe, little is known about who erected them. Human remains found in or near many have led to an often cited theory that they are tombs. Local historical and tourism associations have advocated moving the Guadalperal stones to a museum or elsewhere on dry land. When the dolmen emerges, dolmen tourism begins. But there is no silver lining for local farmers. There hasn't been enough rain since spring, and there's been no water for the livestock either. Climate change has left the Iberian Peninsula at its driest in 1200 years, and winter rains are expected to diminish further. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now, news from other parts of the world in a quick world wrap. Indonesia bomb maker Umar Patek, responsible for Bali bombings that killed 202 people, had his sentence reduced by 5 more months. This will allow him to go free within days if he gets parole. Umar Patek was arrested in Pakistan in 2011 and was convicted in 2012. He was originally sentenced to 20-year imprisonment. Among the 202 people killed, 88 were Australian. Australia's Prime Minister Albanese has expressed his displeasure and has taken up the matter with Indonesia. Colombia's Commerce Minister said both Colombia and Venezuela are on the brink of normalizing diplomatic, consular and commercial relations during a meeting in the Colombia-Venezuela Chamber of Commerce. Relations between the two countries have warmed in nearly 2 weeks since Gustavo Petro was sworn in as Colombia's new president. Finland's Prime Minister has clarified that she did not take any drugs during a reportedly boisterous party in a private home. She also resented footage becoming known to the public as it was a private party. A controversy surrounded Finnish PM after a video of her and her friends dancing and mimicking to a song at a private party came out. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un held a ceremony to honor army medics who had been mobilized for anti-coronavirus efforts. Thousands of medics gathered at a theater in the country's capital Pyongyang, where Kim delivered a speech praising their bravery and self-sacrificing spirit in fighting to exterminate the virus. After a wildfire was dampened by rains in Valencia, Spain, it raged again, fanned by changing winds. Firefighters struggled to control the blaze. Spain's military unit was called in to protect the Roman Catholic chapel of Santa Cova from the flames. Over 400 people and 36 aircraft tried to control a wildfire that burnt 19,000 hectares of forest, forcing evacuation of 1,000 people. From Albert Einstein humanoid to COVID-19 swab test robot, China showcased its advanced robotic technology at the World Robot Conference that kicked off on Thursday. Here are more details.
On display at the World Robot Conference exhibition in Beijing is a humanoid by Chinese robotics company X-Robot. It aims to communicate with humans by analyzing human facial expressions and then responding in kind. A few medical robots, including automated COVID-19 testing robot and knee surgery robot, were also on display at the conference. Inventors are hoping the medical robots can help to improve care and treatment. The technology is expected to improve efficiency during periods when testing is required frequently. Currently, residents in the Chinese capital need to get a COVID-19 PCR test every 3 days in order to move around the city. The World Robot Conference 2022 will continue till the 21st of August. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now time for some sporting action. Third-seeded Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz defeated Croatia's Marni Cilic in straight sets 7-6, 6-1 to reach the quarterfinals of the Cincinnati Masters. World number 1 Iga Swiatek was knocked out of the quarterfinals at the Cincinnati Masters by Madison Keys. Keys won in straight sets 6-3, 6-4 and is scheduled to meet Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina next. Bangladesh Cricket Board appoints former Indian all-rounder Sridharan Sriram as coach for its national team for the upcoming Asian Cup in UAE and the T20 World Cup in Australia. Baichung Bhutia today filed nomination for the president's post in the upcoming All India Football Federation elections, even as former player Kalyan Chaubey has emerged as the frontrunner in the race. Manisha Kalyan became the first Indian footballer to play at the UEFA Women's Champions League when she made her debut for Apollon Ladies FC in the European club competition in Ngome, Cyprus. That's all in news from our side today. Keep watching Sansad Television for more informative news. Good night.